Hey podcast, how's it going? This is Nick from Frank Mobile. I'm here today with our founder, Matt. Today we're going to be asking 10 of the most asked questions about refurbished iPhones. iPhones can be refurbished iPhones can be very shady topic. And there's not a lot. Well, we get a lot of questions from you guys, and basically, in today's video and podcast, we're going to be talking about what are the most common questions. So I've got 10 questions for you that
Beautiful.
I've picked.
Let's do it.
From just our website and social media and stuff like that. Heaps of questions. So let's get straight into it. So my first question for you is, how reliable are refurbished iPhones?
Very, very reliable. No, in all honesty, refurb, I think, has a bad stigma. And the first thing, and I thought the same thing when I first came into the industry, which was, don't want to touch it. But refurb, as long as you're going through the right credible suppliers, and I think that's probably a point to emphasize, all the parts are getting tested, all the functionality components are getting tested. So if all that's above board, it's as reliable as a brand new handset, in my opinion anyway. Look, there's always going to be some element when you're dealing with secondhand goods that potentially it has a higher risk of fault compared to brand new. But even in our space, you're only talking 2 to 3% of all the orders that we do have any type of fault to them.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a good answer. I guess any of the questions that I've got from that answer are actually going to be probably covered in the next couple of questions that we're going to ask. But the second question that I get quite a bit, and we get in general, is, are refurbished phones unlocked?
Yes. Short answer, yes.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the process?
Yeah. So again, when we bring handsets back, we put it through a functionality test, which tests about 72 different touch points on the handset. So functional points, I call them touch points, but functional points on the handset. The first one being is the lock status. So we actually can't get through any of the functional tests after that first lock status check. So if it's locked, it goes straight into a lock category. And an interesting point to note is, if we're talking, there's two types of locks. There's the iCloud user lock, which is like us, we've used it before to protect our data, to protect our privacy. Then you've got your your network lock, like Telstra, Optus and Vodafone. iCloud lock is a user lock. And again, we can't do anything with an iCloud lock device because it actually can't go through the testing. Network locked, about probably, I don't even know the exact date, so I won't try to comment on it, but the newer handsets that are coming through from, say, iPhone 7 and above, it is now part of Australia's laws where we don't have locked devices anymore. So unlike, say, parts of, say, Europe or the US where you've got a device that's locked to the whole network, we no longer do that within Australian regulations. So all devices that we play with are completely user unlocked, and network unlocked. So it can be used across any of the major telcos as well as the smaller MVNOs such as Aldi Mobile, Felix Mobile, any of those.
Sure. And that also would mean that they aren't stolen.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. And again, one of the checks we do is we run it through a police lost and stolen database. So,
awesome.
Yeah, the Australian Telecommunications Mobile Association, AMTA for short, they have a police locked and stolen check which plugs into the big telcos. Every handset that we get back through, whether it's through corporate, individual, working with the the telcos themselves, it's all checked on that database. As soon as if it flags it's been stolen, straight into a quarantine pile. And then that's held until the police actually come and double check on what's going on. And they take that from their side.
I never even knew that. And I've been playing around with phones for years. So I guess the third question, what does refurbished mean? Because that's obviously something that we get asked too, because this is a very vague topic.
Yeah, it's such a good question. It's such a vague question as well. And I think refurbished is maturing each and every year. And the more the market is becoming aware of this space, it is maturing more. So the definition is maturing with it. Refurbished as it stands now can encompass anything from bringing in a device that's had motherboard level problems, issues that needs to go through a full range of repair works before going back into the market, being deemed ready for resale. So that's on one side of the refurbished spectrum. Then on the other side, refurbished can literally mean you partnered up with a telco trade-in operator, you brought the device back to the warehouse, you checked it, you've inspected it, deemed it ready for action, and then resold. So it can encompass it can encompass such a broad definition of the category.
Yeah.
We, as Frank, we try and do everything we can to play on the end of the spectrum, which is just that very minimal touch point. So it's first procuring devices that are already working but have been used by somebody before. We bring them into our warehouse, we test them, we verify them, we clean them up, and then we resell them. If we need to do any repair works, it's very minor, basic screen repair. It might be a camera lens crack, but the very minor works. We don't try and play with the higher end motherboard level technician repairs. But I guess probably to summarize all that up, the big difference between, say, and this might be a question coming up, so refurbished versus secondhand is refurbished, you having a professional and somebody check it. So unlike marketplace where you're buying through members of the public, if you're buying refurbished, whether it's through us or anyone, at least you know somebody has taken the time to check it, inspect it, and actually support it with their word and saying this is ready to go.
Yeah. Well, it does actually tie into my fourth question. Are refurbished phones good for business?
As in for like corporates and enterprise?
Yeah, or just any kinds of business.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
Even the whole economy, you know what I mean?
Any
business.
The refurbished category itself is growing far greater than, say, even new handsets. And that doesn't just stop at the individual one-to-one, like us buying for personal use, but it's businesses. So we get a lot of inbound activity from businesses looking for quality refurbished handsets as a way to not only look at reducing that CapEx expenditure on their balance sheet, but realizing there's a certain element of care that when you're passing a company-owned handset to an employee, there's a certain level of care that doesn't somewhat go along with when it's not their own handset. So refurbished, we get a lot of inquiries from businesses going, well, this is a great alternative. It's anywhere from 30 to 40% cheaper than a brand new handset.
Sure.
And it helps reduce a lot of that upfront cost.
Yeah. No, for sure. It seems like would be more appropriate to do than buying new. What happens, question number 5, what happens if my phone breaks? This is with refurbished, because that's obviously a question a lot of people would have. I mean, like you said at the start, phones break, they're secondhand, they've got their minds of their own.
Yeah.
What happens if it breaks?
Yeah, I think as the industry is becoming more aware and more operators are coming into the space, it's doing a world of good for the end consumer, because a lot of the refurbished players, again, if you're buying from a proper refurbished operator, typically they come with at least a 3-6 month warranty. We at Frank, we actually give a 12-month warranty on all our handsets. So that's a Frank warranty. So if you have any problems with the device within that 12 months, you can literally call us, text us, reach out on any of our customer care lines, and we'll either do a complete swap to an equal or better handset, or if we don't have the same item in stock, just literally do a full refund. So we come with a 12-month warranty.
Oh, perfect. Well, that pretty much answers the whole question. Question number 6. What are refurbished phones like? I know it's a super vague question. It's a really commonly asked question because people think there's actually a difference between a new handset and a refurbished handset. And personally, I want your answer.
Yeah, it is. It's actually a good question. Refurbished phones are great. Yep. And I'm not just saying that because we're trying to build a business and a real brand within this space, but it really depends on the type of individual you're working with and what type of handset they're looking for. Me personally, I love new technology. I love Apple. However, I don't actually need, say, the newest handset like an iPhone 12 or even the iPhone 11. So refurbished for me, for what I do within that, which is browsing social media, emails, work purposes, the stuff that I'd say a big part of the market do, refurbished is a great handset. And what it's like, refurbished is great. If that sums it up.
Yeah. It's a vague question, but the phone often, I feel like it works the same refurb as it does new as well.
Yeah.
There's no
there's no
real
difference. This is the
honest.
thing.
It's the same product.
It's not as if you've had the screen or the housing of an iPhone and then the internals of a Samsung and put them together and Frankenstein. That's not the case. It's literally an iPhone that's just been used before, and then being kept back in the system. So I always look at it like it's a second-hand car in a way. So there's nothing wrong with buying a second-hand Toyota, Mercedes, or whatever, as long as you can get that trust point that you're happy with it. No problem.
Yeah, man. Good answer. Question number 7: refurb versus new. I mean, it's pretty much the same as what we just said.
New sucks so much.
Yeah.
No, again, it depends on what you're looking for. Like, we don't even try and necessarily compete with. If you're looking for the brand new handset and you're happy to spend the money to get that, we won't even try and argue that, because we love technology. We love the idea of what comes with a new iPhone 12 coming out. However, if you're looking for an alternative option that's going to save you a couple of bucks and actually really good for the planet, refurb is the way to go.
Yeah, I think also, like I said, people don't want to buy for, like, for instance, I know a lot of, like, I'm younger. My parents wouldn't want to buy me a phone when I was 15, say, that's new, because it costs so much.
Yeah.
So having a refurb option can actually be a lot better, and you get the same warranties, all this kind of stuff.
And you kind of, if you let in on a little secret, like when you're buying, say, a mint or great condition, refurbished phone, all you're talking about there is the cosmetics. So the outside look and feel of the phone itself. So if you're buying a mint condition, that's, in our eyes, it's an as new. It just doesn't have this necessarily the new plastic seal or the new box, but you're getting that handset. And if you've got a magnifying glass, you might find some minor imperfections, but to the common eye.
And most of the time you put on a case.
Exactly.
I personally, there's obviously going to be some people here that don't put on a case on their phone. I don't know why. Yeah. It's better for the phone, but you don't even see those scratches anyway. Yeah. So, all right, question number 8. How much are refurbished iPhones?
Again, depends, but if we're going a comparison to new, you're talking anywhere from 20 to 40% discount saving to new. So if you're buying a brand new iPhone 11 for $1,000, you can probably buy the same type of thing on Frank as the new handsets have come out for anywhere from that $900 to $800, depending on the condition.
Sure. Cool. Question number 9. This is another vague one. I'm sorry. I think this is alluding towards marketplace options, but the question is where to buy refurb iPhones? Where do you buy them?
Yeah.
Like I guess you're talking about like whether you buy them on like line or, what's your answer?
I would say majority of the players within the refurbished industry, it's online. So Frank, we solely live online. We'll be looking to set up a footprint locally in Brisbane and then potentially across other capital cities in Australia. But right now it's online. So if you're typing in, your basic Google search query, refurbished phones Australia, all I would say to everybody who's looking to buy refurbished is whoever you find and whoever you want to actually source a device from, try and make sure they've got a local number, somebody that you can call, text, or jump on a customer care support line and answer any of the questions. There are a lot of good players out there. You just need to do a little bit of homework to it. So I'd be starting, if you're looking for a refurbished phone, I'd start online first, but just make sure you've got some of those trust points that you're going to be happy with.
I think too, you kind of want to, personally, from what I've seen, avoid the Facebook Marketplace options, Gumtree options, because for the extra maybe $100, not even sometimes, you don't you save $100, but you don't get that warranty.
Yeah.
And you don't get that, like, someone can just run away from you.
Well,
and you risk buying stolen.
It's part of the reason why this industry exists now, this whole category. To me, marketplace is actually not refurbished. That's, it's secondhand. And not there's anything wrong with secondhand, but it doesn't come with anything that refurbished does. So if you're, there are often times where you'll actually be able to find the same handset that is somebody has listed on Gumtree or Marketplace, the same price on Frank or whomever else, but you're getting all the after-sales support if you're going through somebody more reputable. Because at the end of the day, if somebody's selling the handset on Marketplace, they're still looking for the best value. So they're looking at all the sites and going, I can still sell this for $500 because we're selling for $500. But they can't give the after-sales. It's not the same.
And you also avoid buying stolen, which I think is important too.
Big one.
Yeah, because Yeah, if that phone comes in locked,
No checks.
Yeah.
There's
Anyways.
no checks.
Question number 9. Oh, well, no, we're actually up to the last question.
Lucky number 10.
Where do the phones come from? Because you kind of talked about this before, but where do we mostly get our phones, and where do most of the refurbished phones come from?
So we have a range of different options of where we source stock from. We have our own direct-to-consumer buyback company called easy.com.au, where we, as Easy, will actually buy individuals' phones as they look to upgrade their handset.
That's Easy. 2 Ys.
easy2ys.com.au. We work very closely with many of Australia's large corporate and enterprise and government levels. So as, again, they're upgrading their fleets of handset, we work with them to take back all their old devices, put it through a real proper data destruction and service for them.
Sure.
And at the end of that, we pay them, and then we're left with the handsets, and then we sell them. And we also work really closely with all your major telco and manufacturers. So, your Telstra, Optus, Vodafone, Apple, they all have a trade-in program where there's actually companies, say like us, working on behalf of them to run that trade-in program for the individual. So we work closely with them to take off or to buy those disused handsets and, again, put them back into the market.
Perfect. I think we've answered most of the questions that we get.
Well, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, you've talked about a lot of the positives. I really, really want to emphasize, please don't buy on Facebook Marketplace in country. Yes, it's the scariest thing ever. I've made the mistake. I've bought locked phones before, and that's before I realized that there's better options out there.
And look, we get it. At the end of the day, everybody who's working within Frank, I think we've all had somewhat of the same reaction when we first came in. You go refurb or secondhand, you go, don't like it. It's got a bad feel to it. But when you become educated on a little bit, and as long as you're, again, you don't have to go to Frank, you can go anywhere else. But if you're finding those companies that have got those trust points that you're happy with, after sales support, 12-month warranties, et cetera, you're doing everything you can to not only protect your purchase, but you're getting a really good product for a really good saving. So I think it's a great option.
Well, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much, Matt.
Beautiful, my friend.
I'm completely educated now. And we'll see you guys in the next podcast.
Thanks, team. Appreciate it, podcast. Have a great day.